It's my job to welcome you all to this fourth Gladfest. I can't believe that it was only just over 4 years ago when Louisa and I were trying to decide how to manage to have 4 speakers within a short period of time, and we did that horrible sort of Hollywood movie thing. Hey, I know, let's put on a show, and we said, let's have a festival instead. Well, it solved the problem of finding too many dates, so we decided to have a festival. That was in April, and in September we had the first Gladfest. And luckily it made a little bit of money, we were able to do it again, and here we are, the 4th year. So far, each one has made a very small profit, but and it's gone from strength to strength, largely because of the willingness of our speakers to come and speak, and the enthusiasm of our speakers, really, for Gladstone's Library. We're a very small staff, and it is a work of love, really, to put it on. If you've been here yesterday and today, and really the last couple of weeks, there's been a hive of activity, sort of making signs, putting them up, putting the sails up in case of rain, which is probably necessary, but and getting it ready. It's a really great testimony to my staff here, who really are enthusiastic and really love the place and are willing to go the extra mile, for which of course they don't get paid. But I'm endlessly grateful to my staff, and particularly to Louisa, whose brainchild this was, and to Amy, Natalie, Sarah, Paul, all of you, Alan, and all the kitchen, and all the staff. Thank you for all that you do. It's greatly appreciated, and I wish I could reward you financially as well, but I can't. But thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. Do mingle and meet with the authors, and do then eat and go and see Gervais Finn or Anthony Selden, who we hope will arrive. Good. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much for coming on. It's a fantastic place, isn't it?
Yes.
Looking around this library, I always carry with me a little notebook. You mustn't speak to me because it might appear in a book. That's what writers do. P.D. James said writers are the thieves of words. You don't tell a writer a story or an anecdote because it might re-emerge. But just looking around here today reminded me of, because I write things in, but so the world of books is the most remarkable creation of man. Nothing else that he builds ever lasts. Monuments fall, nations perish. Civilizations grow old and die out. And after an era of darkness, new races build others. But in the world of books, of volumes that have seen this happen again and again and again. And yet they live on, still young, still as fresh as the day they were written, still telling man's hearts.
Oh, fly with me and be my love, and let my home right dwell in thee. And when afar away we rove, oh, let my heart be rolled to thee.
You write that first book. It's then easier to write the next one, and you particularly get to know the people. So as everybody knows here, the real powers in Downing Street, and I went on to write a book called The Powers Behind the Prime Minister, because I'm always intrigued by how one person can manage to run a country or a company or a school or a university. It's the people around them who are deciding who you see, what you see. I mean, every week the Prime Minister has 10,000 letters coming in. I mean, they're not sort of looking at all the letters and thinking, well, I see that one, not that one. Who is deciding who you see, what you see, how you see it, who's briefing you? I love the way looking at the briefs that Gladstone and Prime Ministers today have, Theresa May, where they are told what to think. And they're told, Prime Minister, you're going to see the American ambassador. They're going to come in and make 2 early points. They're going to first of all praise you for the speech you made there and ask you about whether you like the present the president gave you. Then they're going to make these 2 points. You're going to...
Springtime of frost, all the flowers bright, and the cry roars death and destruction, roars death and destruction. And youth that once loved the maiden gay, they fled from the home.
Leads us into kind of opening the conversation today anyway, in terms of how much we know about Wilfred Owen and whether what we know about him is accurate and actually the truth, and whether entirely that matters, and what is the relationship indeed between the life and the work. And Owen's a very interesting case because he is a poet who has the life very much attached to his work. We can't really read the poetry without thinking about the life, thinking about the First World War, understanding the context in which the work was written, and that's very much how it's taught as well. Now obviously whenever you at school or university.
Fun to be here in Barton, where the sun always shines. And I'm so happy and so proud of my association with this library, which is possibly the most remarkable library in the country. This is going to be a very interesting talk because I can't find my notes. So I think I was sure I put them down there. So, someone has taken my notes, and if whoever it is would like to speak instead, I'd be very grateful. But I'll see if I can get by. Peter's introduction, as one would expect of someone of his stature, was remarkably error-free, because usually I get people who read more.
Sadness aside, the birds faint most with the daylight are dying. The maid and her swain listen silently, and weep, but they weep without knowing why. The maid and her swain listen silently, and weep, but they weep without knowing
I'm delighted to welcome Michelle Faber back to Gladfest. His 2014 novel, The Book of Strange New Things, was the final novel in a remarkable writing career. Starting with a collection of short stories, Some Rain Must Fall, published in 1998, Michelle published short and long fiction for a number of years, including the neo-Victorian epic, The Crimson Petal and the White from 2002, the short fiction collection of Fahrenheit Twins, and Under the Skin, which I'm sure many of you know was released as a film, starring Scarlett Johansson in 2014. His body of work is as diverse as it is accomplished. I mentioned that The Book of Strange New Things is Michelle's final novel, and indeed that is the case. However, he continues to write both short fiction and poetry, and it's the latter we turn to today. Undying, a love story, published earlier this year, is a collection of poetry written shortly before and after the death of his wife, Eva Faber. The Scotsman called it a remarkable and very moving work, and it is indeed a startlingly powerful volume. Please join me in welcoming Michelle back to Gladfest.
Is it an interesting place to talk about a ruined future, the end of the world? Because surrounded as we are in this beautiful space by books that suggest a shared future. Books always anticipate a faith in the future. They anticipate readers And insofar as there are readers, there is a future in a strange kind of way. So there's a kind of odd irony and a tension. We get libraries, actually, in a number of post-apocalyptic narratives, most famously The Road,
really to make a living from something I would do anyway. I can't remember a time when I didn't really want to write, and I went through various other careers, but that's what I always wanted to do. A lot of writers say that somewhere in the background there's a charismatic English master, and there was for me at my boys' prep school. There was Mr. Evans. Teachers didn't have first names in those days. And he used to give us these lists of words every week, which we had to learn how to spell and define. And they were quite, you know, for 7-year-olds, they were quite complicated words. I remember one week.
His breath is slow, the air is full of pins, the marsh at his feet all at once is wet, as if something out there has displaced the water. Nothing, it's nothing, he thinks, patting about for his courage. But there it is, again, a curious, still moment, as if he were looking at a photograph followed by a frantic, uneven motion that cannot be merely the tug of the moon on the tides. He thinks he sees, is certain he sees, the slow movement of something vast.
Come live with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove, that hill and valley, dale and field, that hill and valley, that dale and field, and all the craggy mountains heave. Will we sit upon the rocks and see?
Before I became a proper writer, I collected strange stories, anecdotes, experiences, anything really to put in my fiction later. I didn't quite know this was what I was doing at the time, but I'm glad I did it. So there was the time that a grown-up freaked me out by saying, "There's a pink elephant in this room," and then making me prove that there wasn't. I think I was about 9 at the time. So I gave that to Alice in my 2004 novel Popco. There was the time I heard about the Beast of Bodmin Moor, filed it away, and later turned it into the Beast of Dartmoor for my 2010 novel Our Tragic Universe. I did almost a whole MSc as research for my 2015 novel The Seed Collectors, from which I got lots of stories.
And be my love. There will I make the beds of roses with 1,000 fragrant posies, a cap of flowers and a kirtle, a cap of flowers and a kirtle, embroidered all with leaves of myrtle. A shepherd's straight shall dance and sing, for I delight to stray morning. The shepherd's straight shall dance and sing, for my delight.
The easiest decision to make, and this in theological terms is now called non-realism, but I'm going to use a different terminology to capture it. William James, in his explanation, talks about the human capacity for dreaming. I dream a lot. I get interesting information in dreams. I dreamt a few months ago a dead friend who died 15 years ago. I was a student with him, and in the dream he said to me, "Dick, I'm 90 today."
I was thinking of it.